So this is our current board for 2025. I'm Peter Lund, Mark Pomeroy is in the front row there. Janice Cobb was the person you introduced you. Came in and she signed you off on the list. Christine Mills, secretary, right there. There we go. Christy Ledgerwood, I don't think she's here. And Brett and Murati, I said his name wrong. He's not here right now. And Cynthia is right over there at the library table. So for our club support, we have equipment manager of Doug Wilson, librarian Cynthia, swarm managers Tim Thompson and Cynthia, and swarm. We're going to get into the swarm season here soon, so that's going to be really important. Website management Christine Mills and Brian Clements. Parker Honey Festival is Brett, and we just got news that we're set up as a vendor for the Honey Festival, so that's all in place, and we'll talk more about the Honey Festival coming up. That's later in the year, but it's never too early to prepare. And our two apiary managers, Brian Clements and Perry Walsh. I saw Perry here a minute ago. There he is back in the corner there. And hospitality host. Maybe somebody in the audience right now.
A married couple.
That would be best.
Yes. Will they stay married though?
Okay, so a few announcements. The first one is this is the beginning of the 2025 season, so we typically collect our membership dues. If you haven't already paid, it's only $25 per family. That covers everybody in your family. Some of the benefits that you get for that is it also goes $7 towards Colorado State Beekeepers Association membership. So you get one person as a primary member there. You get access to our club library, which is right over here, a very extensive library. Club equipment, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And Hive host template. So if you have, if you want to host somebody else's hives, this is a legal document that can help you cover all your bases, make certain that everybody understands what their roles are. And then, of course, the members only section of our website. And also, it allows you to attend our in-apiary events. We do an in-apiary event once a month on Saturdays. We have an apiary out at the Parker Water District, which is it's a really fun thing to do, to go out there and if you've never gotten into a hive, or if you have, it's great to be around a lot of people where you talk about a particular subject, you go through the process of an inspection or whatever treatment you're going to do, and everybody gets to ask questions and learn firsthand. Really fun. And then, of course, the swarm list membership. Coming into swarm season, if you want to collect swarms, that's the best way to get them. And then the last bit there is, if you do participate as a vendor at the Parker Honey Festival later in the year, being a member of this club means that you fall under our insurance policy. So you don't have to have your own specific insurance policy to participate in that event. Normally, they demand that every vendor have their own policy. So that's a big event. That's a big benefit. Of course, we do need some volunteers. We have an open spot. If there's anybody interested in helping to keep our potluck going, talk to any one of the board members. We'll be happy to chat with you about what it entails, and a lot of people benefit from it. So it would be a good thing to have. Is there anybody at all who's partial or interested right now? Might be led into it. Anyway, you know where to find us. So equipment, Doug Wilson. Do I see Doug in the house? I do not. Doug Wilson is our equipment manager, and one of the benefits of being a member of the club is that you can borrow equipment that the club owns. You don't have to buy it yourself. These extractors can go for, between $200 and $500, depending on how involved you want them to be. He also has bee suits and other bits of equipment that might be useful from time to time. So when you get into the extraction period, the harvesting period, it's really good to have this as a benefit. And Doug asks that when you coordinate your loan with him, that you either call him, actually voice, no texting. He will not respond to any text messages at all. Or you can email him at the addresses that are right here. Okay. Garage sale. So every year we do a garage sale, and I think that Janice wanted to talk about this. Could you grab her? Okay, cool. You want to talk about the garage sale?
Yes, I can talk about the garage sale. So last year, we had our first ever, what is this, a bug?
A little microphone for the folks online.
Hi. I don't want to yell at you guys, but last year we had our first ever garage sale in May at Ann Atkinson's house in conjunction with her neighborhood garage sale. And we made $1,100 off of bee equipment and suits and things that we had, that people had donated to us. Those funds have been designated towards going towards, oh, my words aren't flowing tonight, guest speakers. And we have decided to have another garage sale this year. We've decided to have it in mid-April, and we are asking for donations at this time. So as you are getting your equipment out for the year, and you find things you no longer want, including knickknacks, or go into your closet and find bee clothing that you're not wearing anymore. I see Ann has my shoes on. Let me know. You can text me or voicemail me at my phone, or send it to magicdogapiary@gmail.com. And I will arrange with you how to get it picked up or delivered or whatever. And I'm looking forward to it. We really can use some more stuff.
And April 6th is our date by which we would love to hear back from you. So before then, obviously, don't wait till that moment.
Donations are tax deductible.
Oh, yes.
Yes, donations are tax deductible. Because we are now a 501c3, you can, we'll give you a receipt for whatever you donate, and you can choose to write it off on your taxes or what have you.
And the donations are wanting to be like bee themed, honey themed, like that,
Yes.
or hive.
Tools, yeah, hive tools, bee equipment that you're not using.
And if you don't have any and you want to buy some, then you're more than welcome to come to the garage sale once we announce a date and a time and a place.
All righty?
Okay, thanks.
Yes, I will get that
Okay,
posted
next item.
on the
So,
website or on this one here. So
The
you can
Colorado
get
State
the
Beekeepers
emails.
Association's sustainability group has decided that they're going to place an order for some of Randy Oliver's queen bees, the Golden West queens. And if you've never heard of those, these are some amazing queens. Randy is out in California, and he believes that your queens and the bees that are in the hive with them should be so gentle that you never have to wear a suit or a veil. Okay, so he's been breeding his queens and to be that gentle. while still being productive and still being Varroa resistant to a degree. And so he's going for perfection, right? He'll say he's not there yet, but they're significantly better than some of the others. And if you ever see him in his apiary, you know, if you go online and do a YouTube, and you see him moving around, he won't have a suit on. He will very rarely have a veil. And he says if he ever gets stung, he knows that bee goes out of his genetic pool. And so that's the bee strain that we're looking to make a purchase for. So the sustainability group, the Colorado State Beekeepers Association's sustainability group, is looking for ways to improve the quality of bees in Colorado. And so this is one of the ways they're doing it. So if you want to order some bees, talk to us. We're going to take orders from folks, and no money's due immediately. But then, depending on how many become truly available, the Colorado State Beekeepers Association will put in one order, and then it'll get shipped back to us, and then it'll be distributed out to whoever actually ordered it. Per each club. So every club in the area is being given this opportunity to participate, and then at a state level, they're just going to buy one big order and have it come in that way.
But we would like to know by next Wednesday if you're interested, so that we can get this ordered. We're going to talk a little bit more about the challenges that beekeepers have had and the pressures on making new bees this year. So we want to make sure that our orders are in early so that we're in the queue. So if you can show us interest by next Wednesday, that will be very helpful.
And then do we have a
May 15th is the estimated delivery.
Okay.
ETA is May
Yes.
15th.
And one of the reasons why we want to encourage people to respond quickly is that this order is going to be dependent on the number of bees that they have available. And so the sooner our order is placed, the higher priority will be. So if we wait till the last minute, they'll say, sorry, there aren't any bees left.
What's the cost, you know?
We're anticipating about $37 per bee, per queen. Sorry, I'll make it bigger next time. Yeah, that's another thing we'll work on. I can tell you that is fuzzy, and it's not this.
I'll take one.
Cool. So what we're going to ask you to do is let
Janice, no.
same contact information as before, magicdogapiary@gmail.com. If you could send an email there, that would be great. Janice will take your info, and when it comes time to pay, she'll let you know when that happens or when that's required. Anybody have any thoughts, comments, questions?
It's just gonna be on the website or on our Facebook?
Is this going to be on our website?
Yeah, because I can't see this.
Yeah, this will be posted so you can see it after the fact. Okay. Also, here's a plug for Keepers Association. They are having an event on March 29th. They'll have a whole bunch of speakers, 8 speakers, nationally renowned beekeepers, and they're going to give talks about, how to be a better beekeeper. This is it's at the Pathfinder Park Event Center in Florence, Colorado. $60 for non-members. I assume $50 for members. Members being the Pueblo County Beekeepers Association group. And yes, I do have a link there at the bottom, which no one will be able to read, but you will be able to get to it online afterwards.
What's the date?
March 29th. So it's Saturday, March 29th.
And Randy Oliver will be one of those speakers.
Yeah, Randy Oliver will be one of the speakers. KT will be one of the speakers. And Brian Zaveda.
Thomas Seeley.
Thomas Seeley. Oh, wow. That's the guy who wrote the Honeybee Democracy, if you've read that book. It's all about how bees decide what to do. It's amazing, amazing stuff. So I highly recommend this. This is going to be a really good event to go to. Now, there's a lot more to be said about this than what's on this slide. So I highly recommend looking into it and seeing what else is there. They're going to have some competitions as well, and not just a whole bunch of talking. So.
I think that Colorado Beekeepers newsletter had a picture on that last week.
Yes, and I think we'll send out another email blast. We'll forward this out to the membership after this meeting. So everybody on our mailing list will get it as well that way.
Public County Beekeepers is super active and really great resource also. If they're looking for additional, like some of us are in multiple clubs, they're great.
So Project APIS M report. I don't know, some of you might have seen the email that's been going around about this. Maybe you haven't, but there was a report about the state of honeybees and colonies in general. And the takeaway was that first quote there: catastrophic honeybee colony losses across the United States. How many people have seen this report? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. The takeaway was an average of 62% loss, and that was for commercial beekeepers. The little chart there in the table there shows that hobbyists are about 50%, sideliners 54%, and commercial 62%. Just out of curiosity, does that line up with your experience? So I heard yes, then I heard no.
0
That's impressive.
every year. And that's at a queen thing.
So yeah, and I remember you do a really good job of keeping.
OAD. Yeah, OAD. Mites. It's not the cold people.
Yeah. So I don't have much to say about this other than here it is. There's also a link out there on our website that points to the YouTube video that describes this report, and they go into a great deal of detail about all how they came up with these numbers and what the link is also there on the slide there. How they come up with these numbers, what the impacts were to people, and it actually covers a whole lot of it. If you're not familiar with the bee economy, taking your bees out to almond pollination and all that, talks about that and how it affects it, as well as just being in your own backyard. So it's a really great overview of the bee industry as a whole.
Randy Oliver was talking about this very thing on a talk the other night on YouTube. And, his take on it was the mites are vectoring. The mites are vectoring a super virus that's vectored by the mites, but it's more virulent than your regular. It's probably the same viruses, but it's just a stronger version. He says the same thing. It's like a plague going through the bee industry. He says the same thing happened in the so-called CCD, colony collapse disorder. They're all scratching their heads as to what it was, and they pretty much figured it was the same thing. It was a super virus that ran through the bee industry like a plague, and that's what his opinion was on his talk the other night. He was talking. Thought it was interesting. That and the fact that these commercial guys use Aprovar a lot, and it's becoming ineffective in the industry. That's all I got.
That's because they use it too much and they don't give it.
Yeah, they give immunity to it.
It's kind of like too much penicillin and
They develop immunity to
Right.
it. Aprovar is a very poor choice for my treatment right now.
So that brings up nutrition, immune system, and the health of the honeybee. if the honeybee is kept healthy, then it can fight off some of this factors that we're talking about right now. And my concern, and some of you that are on Facebook know that I'm deeply passionate about saving the bees through health, through keeping them healthy. And so one of the things I'm looking into is sugar, processed sugar, really healthy for our honeybees, because as a retired RN and former health coach, I know what sugar does to humans. And so my hypothesis is that it has a similar negative detrimental effect to the health of the honeybees. And I'm trying to find information that shows how popular sugar, when did sugar start become so popular to feed to honeybees? Because there was one of the first honeybee keepers in the United States back in late 1800s, early 1900s, was dead set against feeding sugar. And I have connected with other beekeepers who are against feeding processed sugar. And so this is what I'm working on. And I listened to Dr. Priya Basu, who's a popular nutritional researcher for honeybees. And I listened to her, she did a webinar last Tuesday, a week ago. And twice she said, do not feed them sugar. So this Priya, Priya, Basu, Basu. And she was phenomenal. Oh my gosh. She was so articulate, so organized, and just gave you so much information of the research that her and her team are doing. And they're looking at, flowers, nectar, and what's influencing, the health of the flowers. And then I did email her. I'm waiting to hear back, but I will follow up with her. But that's where I'm at. And I really think that this is a serious issue. We can't be killing our bees thinking that we're feeding them the right way. And my neighbor had 4 colonies in the beginning of the summer, and he fed them sugar water, and 1 month apart, each month they died. And he's been a beekeeper for 12 years.
Dina, quick question. If she says don't feed sugar, what does she feed?
You leave them their honey. Leave them enough honey.
Because there's been a lot of conversation with this over the years. Sugar and honey all comes down to one thing: sucrose, sucrose, sucrose. Your nectar is sucrose. Your white sugar is sucrose. And all your commercial guys feed sugar so where they could build these bees up for the pollination and the almonds. They've been feeding sugar for a long time. And I think what you've been listening to is that same old argument. It's been bandied around for years, back and forth between don't feed your bees sugar, feed them back your honey. What's kind of impractical for commercial people to feed them back honey?
Well,
hold on. In the process of taking the nectar from the flower and the enzymes that are imparted into the nectar via the hypopharyngeal gland on the way back to the hive, that sucrose is broken down in a process called invertase into glucose and fructose sugar, which are more digestible.
Components. They have amino acids, they have nutrients, and so it's the processed sugar. If you watch a video on processed sugar, it is microbiologically contaminated. It's contaminated. It's not sterile. And it has no nutritional value whatsoever. It's pure carbohydrate. So if you're just feeding your bees
pure carbohydrate, they're not getting protein, they're not getting fats, they're not getting nutrients. And you're basically
Really
not
back.
feeding them
We need to
anything.
keep going here.
But also,
Okay.
you need to know how inflammatory sugar is.
To humans.
And sugar also affects the brain because of the inflammatory effect, which it has, I have read, it affects their foraging capability.
Okay, we
So
need
you're
to
working-
get back on.
I know, but
You're,
this is what I'm
you're
doing.
working towards developing this. Are you working to publish something?
It's big,
Sounds like a
it's big.
masterpiece.
I was thinking that. I was thinking that if you, this would be a project for a master beekeeper level effort.
Yes, this is really big, it is really big.
Yeah,
That's been for years.
But
okay.
no one's addressing it.
So,
That's been talked about for years.
It's been talked about, but
yeah.
not the right way.
So, in regards to this report, obviously there's been a huge impact. The next thing, of course, is you got to build yourself back up. So that goes back to our queen order and other things. So making splits, and that gets us into the next part of the discussion here, and that's our monthly bee calendar. So during March, colonies can die of starvation during this time. So if you're a bee haver rather than a beekeeper, you might just let them go and do nothing. You might, I know that one of the most disappointing things for me was looking out there in February and saying, "Oh, look, my little nuke survived the winter. Isn't that great?" And then 2 weeks later, they're gone because they ran out of resources. And so, so let's talk a little bit about what are the things we have to do in March to keep your bees alive and healthy if they made it through the winter. So what do you guys do? Pete?
One thing, sure, is in the fall, you feed them up to winter weight, so they got, you feed them in the fall, so they're up to winter weight, so where they got plenty of stores to make it through the winter. I don't feed pollen patties until this time of year, because otherwise they'll get in their guts and they can't relieve themselves as much. And they don't need the protein, they need the carbohydrates. But all my hives are still heavy. If you're a bee haver and you don't feed them up to winter weight in the fall, your bees will die in March, if they make it to March. But yeah, they need them carbohydrates. And yeah, sure, you could do, like she says, leave all your honey supers on, but sugar's cheaper than honey. I could buy a lot of sugar for what the honey costs.
Thanks, Pete. Anybody else have thoughts about what's the best thing to do in March or before March?
Check your candy boards, make sure they didn't run out.
Check your candy boards.
Don't get in to your hives.
Don't get into your hives.
If you are gonna get into them to peek, then make it super quick. If you're just curious if they're alive, put your ear against it and knock. They'll answer you. They're in there.
So just knock on the side of the hive, make them buzz.
Make a buzz. If it is a nice day, you're able to be outside without a jacket, is generally the rule of thumb. If you're comfortable in a t-shirt without a jacket, then that's a good day to rotate your boxes so that they have more space up above. If they're already at the top, they like to move up. Or just leave them alone. Make sure they're not hungry.
Okay, so
Don't reverse boxes too early though. I mean, that mistake one year and killed the bees. So you gotta make sure that they.
They're saying
really
don't
are
reverse your
all
boxes
in
too
that
soon.
box
That'll kill your
before you
bees.
reverse.
you don't want to split your
You don't wanna
your.
split up that agreement.
End of March is the best thing. Yeah. And start reversing boxes, if in fact you can. Like Ann was saying, if they're in both boxes, don't reverse. If they're up in the top box, reverse. It gives them that headroom so they don't squash the fast.
So at the earliest end of March, but always double check.
And right now, you're just picking up the backs and see if they're still heavy. If they're light, you got a problem.
That's true. Okay, so here's the list. This list was pulled from, gosh, I forgot the name of the place, Rocky Mountain Bee Supply, their website. They have a calendar online. This list was pulled from there. So they say inspect your hive, feed pollen patties, again, however you want to do it. Perform your Varroa mite treatment. Does anybody do mite treatments in the spring?
Always.
Okay, good. Remove your entrance reducers and mouse guards so that get preparation for flow in and out. And we talked about brood boxes, and then make certain your equipment's ready. So, Harry.
If you, I've read all of it, going back to reading all of it, he has a graph on his website that you can play with that will tell you if you don't have 0 mites in the springtime, the likelihood of those colonies surviving through the winter. It's really important. Mites, you gotta get rid of them. And doing it in the springtime makes a healthy colony through the summer. And doing it again, doing your mite treatment in the spring and doing it again in the fall to make sure that there are no mites in it is really important.
And when you
What kind of treatment are you doing, Gary?
Me?
Yeah.
The Apivar.
Apivar?
Yeah. But I'm starting, they're gonna end up out on it too. So I'm starting to turn to the oxalic acid.
Oxalic? Okay.
I can't tell you how.
And what's the timing of this? Are you doing it now, or are you waiting until April?
Like these? Yeah, we'll be getting it the 20th of March, starting with 20th of March.
See, now what I found, and year after year after year, I'll do mite washes in the spring, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0s, because I'll treat with OAV the week after Thanksgiving, and a week later, that kills 95% of your phoretic mites.
I agree.
A week later, I hit them again. That kills 95% of the 5% that you didn't kill the first week. And just for good measure, I'll hit them the first week of after Christmas.
I don't blame you.
And then I'm pretty much phoretic mite 0. I don't start seeing mites. I kept doing mite washes, and I don't start seeing mites until July, maybe August. So I don't do a spring treatment, but you got to be diligent.
But you're doing a winter treatment when there's no brood. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the best. That is the best treatment in the world for mites because they're all phoretic.
Right.
All
I agree
phoretic.
with
Whether
you.
you do a dribble, if you don't have a gun or a pen, OAB, you could do a OA dribble. But
I don't recommend that, but that's.
yeah, I hate it. You're busting the hive. You're busting the hive in the wintertime. You're breaking home the seal.
When you back up, there are a lot of people that have no idea what OAV is.
Oxalic acid vaporization.
Okay, there are a lot of people that are struggling with the jargon here, so.
We have enough new people that we should be using words instead of.
Use our words, Harry. Don't kill your bees.
And the phoretic mites are the mites that are on the adult population. They're not reproducing inside the brood. And that's especially true in kind of the Thanksgiving to even January. The queen has basically stopped laying at that point, so there is no brood for the mites to reproduce on. So all the mites in the colony at that point are phoretic mites or traveling mites. There's various terminology that's going on right now.
We're not using phoretic anymore.
Yeah, it's dispersal mites, that's correct.
Transpersal or redispersal?
Dispersal.
Yeah, when we go with dispersal.
Dispersing around.
They're not transferring around.
There's another reason why we have a calendar is because you got to do everything. You got to be thinking in advance. You can't just wait till the moment and then do it. To Pete's point earlier, we're talking about March. The best way to make them survive in March is do something in December, or even before then. So there's that. So anybody else have any other thoughts about what we should be doing now or even into April?
One thing is, beekeeping is local, beekeeping is hyper-local. So I was at my colonies this weekend, and I have a ton of drones. And so what that's telling me is it takes 28 days to make a drone. So my queens were laying in January to be able to make those drones. So, but that is my hyper little focused microclimate where mine is. It will vary depending on where your colonies are, how strong they are, what resources are available, things like that. I am in Highlands Ranch.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, I'm,
See, I'm across the street, right
Yep.
down, I'm 2 weeks behind Parker. Parker's doing stuff 2 weeks at least before.
but even just visiting your hives now, and you don't have to go in them, just watch what's happening. See, are they bringing in pollen? Mine are definitely bringing in maple pollen. There's another type of pollen, which I'm not sure what it is, so I have a couple of colors. So, they're getting protein from the environment in my local environment. So just having that kind of idea will also help you plan what you're going to be doing as time progresses.
Veronica had something too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, make sure you have equipment, especially with, if you need to do a split, as we head into swarm season, which is when the bees are reproducing exponentially, they need more space. So you want to make sure that you have the equipment to do a split. If you go into your hives in April and say, I got to do something or we're going to swarm. So make sure equipment's a big thing.
All right.
Also move-in hives, because it's cold out, so you get most of your foraging force, all the work bees that are out and about are home, so if it's cold, it's a good time to move your hive.
You move them from your apiary to some other location where there's resources?
Well, like I'm shutting down one of my apiaries and moving them over closer, so I don't have to drive so far to go check on them, and or even if you want to reposition them in your yard or whatever, it's a good time to do it. And then you can put stuff out in front of the entrance if you don't go more than a couple miles, and then they'll reorient and find their new home, because they orient to location to this box that smells like this queen.
Okay, well, hopefully we're all very successful with our March timeframes or activities. And I don't know, we might be a little bit ahead of schedule, but we did have a time for a quick break, unless there's something else anybody wants to bring up before we break.
Did you mention that some library books have been checked out for quite a while?
Certainly. So if you've had a book checked out for a while, it would be really great if you could bring it back so that others could take advantage of that resource.
So just check your files at home.
I have a question that I would like to ask the group. Would now be an appropriate time, or do you want to hold that for after? Okay.
Sure.
So I had a hive that probably early January, I just went out to look. It was a warm day. I didn't see any activity at all. All the other hives had a few dead bees in front. I could tell they were still alive. This one just seems like it's dead. I do the tap and hello, talk to me thing. They're not talking to me. I don't see any activity. So I say, okay, this hive must be dead. About 3 weeks later, another warm day, and I decided I would just go get the sugar board off of them and give it to somebody else or make syrup about it or something. So I go in and I didn't do anything, didn't tap, didn't smoke, didn't do anything. I just lift the lid. I immediately have banana smell, and it's full of bees, and they are so pissed at me for even being around.
I can understand that.
So I want to know, I am really sure they were dead. What do you guys think happened? Did I get zombies? I mean, what do you think happened? Yes, Pete, what do you think?
This particular hive, is it in a cast of shadow before?
It is in shade, yes. It's more shaded than the others, so.
The other ones are out in full sun, so they get up quicker. They're out flying while that one still thinks it's too cold. They stay in the house. When you went out there, it happened to be the time. When they're in the house, saying it's too cold outside because they're in cast of the shadow, and it might be hours before they're warming up. I have one on the end of my rail, always the last to fly. So I'm always thinking,
Wouldn't they have had some dead bees out in front eventually? I mean, there were still no dead bees in front when I went out and they attacked me.
Me too. There's something to that.
Oh, the wind blew.
But it was in full sun. The other day, I saw bees going in and out.
Okay, my corollary question to this, why were they so pissed at me for, well, of course. But I'm their attorney. I mean, it shouldn't be pissed at me. But I mean, it wasn't, seriously, I mean, it was so immediate. Whereas the other hives were not like that. Yes, Pete, what's your?
Pollen tags on. See if it's consuming pollen tags. If you're not consuming pollen tags, it's queenless. If it's queenless.
It's queenless, yeah.
There's
That,
a good chance it might be queenless.
I was
I
thinking,
don't tear into my hives yet. It's too early.
yeah,
I'll open the top and put on pollen pads, but I don't start breaking seals. I don't pull frames. A lot of people do, they think it's
Yeah.
okay, but it disturbs them so bad.
yeah, well, I mean, I
It's
just
hard to repropalize.
peeked in the top
I
and
mean,
they did
open the lid's
this.
one thing,
Yeah,
but it could be that they're queenless, that's why they're very
that they're
aggressive.
just upset.
And they're too cold, first time you went out there and you thought they were dead.
So I need at least one queen, please.
Well, that might not be the case, though.
Yeah.
It's just me.
Yeah, well,
For-
I thought if they were that upset, I needed to clean them anyway, so
Yeah, nobody likes me nice.
we'll see. Okay, thank you.
Well, now you got me wondering, you talk about pollen patties. What pollen patties do you all use? A particular brand or a particular type?
I mix mine up with man, Ultra B.
That's what I need to.
I'll put 2 cups of sugar it's 6 cups of sugar, 2 cups of warm water, and I think it's 6.5 cups of Ultra B and a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. I'll mix it up in a KitchenAid and I'll put it in little sandwich bags and zip it shut, usually about 13, 14 ounces. And then when I go to put them on, I'll take a box cutter and just cut a flap out, like a long john flap. And I'll turn it upside down and put it on the top bars underneath the can.
I make it with just, I just take the Ultra B or whatever pollen sub I've got. I make, sorry. I make a 1-to-1 syrup separately. I just mix them together until it seems like peanut butter. And then I just make it, I put it on wax paper, put another layer of wax, just layer it on wax paper, and then, like I said, like Pete just slapped
I do the
in.
parchment paper thing, but I found that putting it in the Ziploc sandwich bag, they stay moist longer.
Okay,
I mean, you go in there and they'll be like crackers.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, if they're
Yeah.
not consuming them fast, they'll be like crackers. Or if you put them in that plastic, now mind you, you have to go back in and remove the plastic.
I was gonna say, don't they get, doesn't it start to get moldy after a while? No? Okay,
No, I found that they last long, and usually they consume. This time of year, I put them in last week, I'll go and probably later on this week, and they're probably gone. I put them in.
okay, cool. All right, we all learn.
That's a good way to find out if you're cleaning this without cracking the frames, is just see if they're consuming pollen tags.
Okay.
If they have no reason for the pollen tag.
There's no bruises, right, okay.
That's a good point. Every time I come here, I learn something new. Okay, now, unless there's more, we'll take a little break and come back in about 10 minutes. So help yourself to all this wonderful
We'll be back
food
in
out
10
there.
minutes.
And see you in about 10 minutes.
Okay, your mic is not on. Don't confuse. It's just the telephone. I'm gonna leave it all on and plug it in on my chair. I'm just gonna leave y'all plugged in and watching nothing.
I'll have to try that. You could be right. It could just be robbers. I mean, there was a lot the other day, and I was like, and they're not my other bees. My other bees are Italians, are a totally different color. These are a hybrid that have a black one, and that's what was coming and going. So it's not the Italians robbing them out. It looked like mine. It could be some other neighborhood bees, I guess, that are and hybrids.
So you want something that is going to grow and provide winter with protection. So not something that's just going to lose all its leaves and just sticks. You want to have something that is a little bit more substantial. Typically, you're going to want on the north and west sides because that's where we get those really cold plants. You want to get really high because if you get it slow, what will end up is you're getting kitties worse on the highs. So you want to evergreens are great. So yeah, I'm in the process of making an aviary right now, and I'm going to come in some Norwegian spruce because they make great Christmas trees. And I've been playing that, but once again, those are very much a long-term. This is it's going to take years for them to grow and substantial. So in the meantime, I actually just buy some big fencing and T-posts, and then I commercial green fabric that they use for like tennis courts, and put that on as a temporary one. And yeah, just cuts the wind down, and you can just have them up here. The green. Northeastern spruce. Yeah. Beautiful Christmas trees, which is great because then in the wintertime they're yeah.
Yeah, windbreaks are really important. There are strategies that are bring out. Some indicators. The downside is sometimes it is small sections of the so that's your strategy. Yeah, and you have to build something that we talk about. So I'm saying the north and west, that's where I like to outline south and just slightly east. And because they'll get everything on sun before here, so they'll be what I also do is I typically have a scan that is running splits because there are different techniques that so my purpose is what's called the first one. So you don't have to basically take half of the resources of the frames, so there's some rules and colonies, those that you have, and take all of these out of the line. What happens is all of the workers that are and then that's the line, they go back to the hive, and then we're going back to your city, it's the whole thing, and so you get 50% of the bees that come back, everyone else that's I love
Yes. So otherwise you buy it in a package. Or a new kit. So if you already have a hive and you want to do a split, and then instead of waiting for them to make their own queen, you just put the queen in there and they'll get her queen queen eventually. Because she's got the magic pheromones to say, I am your master.
once they start
seeing that. So the reason she's in a cage is because they want to kill her. And because she doesn't smell right. Yes.
But they can't get to her.
Yes. So what happens? Yeah, exactly. What happens is she's in the cage, she's protected, and then you put at the end of the cage, you put a little piece of marshmallow. And it'll take about 3 days for them to eat the marshmallow. And so then in that 3-day period, she's exuding pheromones. And by the time they get in, the most susceptible ones that are right there trying to attack her are the ones that are like you're not so bad. And then they start feeding her because once they're on her side, they'll feed her. And then that bee, it's transmitted by touch. So that bee walks up and touches another bee. And now that bee's got the scent. Okay. And then it propagates through the hive through touch.
Because I've got 2 hives that are
Okay, that's the fastest way to go.
So maybe next year, later in the year, is it broken? I guess you need that.
Well, there's different ways to do everything. So the reason you would buy a queen is that you've got several, I won't say several, you've got enough hives with a lot of quantity of worker bees. And then you've got a bunch of equipment because, it died. And so the equipment is there. Maybe you've even got some really filled, like I've got a bunch of little frames that are perfectly full and ready to go. And the only thing they need is shake of a few worker bees and then a queen to go in it. And then it will turn into a viable hive. And so and then of course, once she starts laying, once she's accepted, when she starts laying, then it's just going to grow. So, again, whether you get any honey out of it in your first year, you might. I kept everybody told me
Time to establish that kind of.
yeah, it does. So I was really lucky my very first year. Everybody's like, you're not going to get any. And the reason they said that is because it takes so much time to build the wax takes a lot of energy. So they're eating all their honey that they make, they're eating it to make more wax. Because all my frames are empty.
Okay. Because you hadn't harvested.
So right. I bought a package out of here, and so all I have was a bunch of empty frames, and so then all that energy goes into creating the wax.
That's another advantage of the new.
Yes.
There's already
You got loaded frames, and then you put instruments in there, and they already have something laid in, they already have something food in, they're already doing it. It speeds the process up by about 2 months. Okay. And in my case, though, either the geography of where I was, the water there was a really nice honey flow when I first my first season, and they just went to town. They don't let those hives, those frames really down. Every week I was adding another super. Wow. I was like, holy shit, I was waiting for them to get 80%. And I'm like, wait a minute, they got there. And I put another super on, and a week later, they filled it up. I ended up harvesting 100 pounds the first year.
Wow. That was from package?
That was from package. And now, that was a year in the pipe.
I'm just selling.
So microclimates make a difference.
Yeah. You're up in the trees.
There's a lot of resources that people plant a lot of flowers.
Yes.
If you're back where Pete is, for instance, there's a lot of open space. You're not going to get the same.
That's why I'm it's all like we they're going to have to travel.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is the further they go, the more energy they consume to bring their harvest back. If they only have to go a small distance, then it's like, going to the corner of a convenience store versus going to Costco.
Now I know there's this little ranch near me, right on Lake Road. It looks like they got one hive, but I don't know exactly if it's part of the group or if they're off on the run.
I don't know where everybody lives, but it's right on by a Dutch. Even even if they show up online.
Yeah. In some ways,
And I have to
yeah.
start this up again. I have to say, this is a very useful tool.
Yes.
Hope you all enjoyed the wonderful food that was brought by everybody, potluck here. And reminder, if anybody wants to be our potluck host, come and talk to any member of the board. We'll be happy to chat with you. Okay, so finishing up on our topic of the March items, given everybody's conversation, just out of curiosity, during the break, did you come up with anything new? It's like, oh yeah, I didn't know about this. Oh yeah, I didn't know about that. Anybody come up with anything new?
Seeing yellow jacket wasp control on there, I'm actually curious to know what to do for that.
Let's talk about it.
I love it.
So the yellow jacket and wasps. So what do you do to prevent the growth of yellow jackets and wasps? You want to put out your traps right about now. So the reason for this is because if you put your trap out now, you might catch a queen because they're burrowers. They go underground. They hibernate, I guess, and then they come out right about now. And if they're caught, if you catch a queen, that queen doesn't lay any eggs, and then you take out all of her potential brood. On the other hand, if you wait till June and you put out a trap, you're just going to catch hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of wasps instead of that one.
So what's the best kind of trap? So protein in the spring that I've heard for the queens? I'm not gonna say anything more.
So the best kind of trap, I don't know. Who knows what the best kind of trap is for wasps and hornets?
Just buy a commercial one from, Home Depot.
Just buy the commercial ones from Home Depot.
I get the 3-in-1.
With the little packet lure.
The lure, the packet lure
Yeah.
pheromones that come in it.
Yeah, it's a time of year, maybe for me out here, it might be a little bit later than towards the end of March. Catch them queens, boy, you can head off.
Put your
That's
wasp traps
much
out
better.
early so you can
You
catch
had a
queens.
comment too?
Yeah, I had an old man tell me to take boric acid.
Boric acid?
Yeah, put it in apple juice and then put a straw or stick in it. These don't want the apple juice, but the wasps do. And then it takes about a week for them to be killed, so they take it back to the hive and they kill.
Ooh, so boric acid and apple juice.
Vinegar in it, so the bees don't take it.
A little bit of an apple cider vinegar.
They don't like the apples, apple juice at all. They stay with it.
I've been looking for a source for boric acid. Where are you getting yours?
You can buy it online.
From the boric acid store.
They're asking where to buy boric acid.
I stepped into that.
2 pounds of it. It's in the laundry.
Borax and boric acid.
No, they're two different things. It's not
Totally different.
Because I got it in powder form from Amazon.
From Amazon.
Yes.
They're saying buy it from Amazon.
Well, I'm not gonna go online. I'm gonna go to Amazon.
There's a jungle down south. I'm sure that they'll be able to help you.
They do like if you put a piece of bacon in there too, or something like that. They like the smell.
Yeah, they like the meat.
Bacon.
Right, the wasps like the protein. Yeah, yeah.
So how do you keep the raccoons out there?
That's why they go after your hot dogs at the barbecue.
Long string on.
Like protein.
So, like, I have not had an issue with yellow jackets. I got into beekeeping because of gardening. And so,
I got into beekeeping because of gardening, and I have never had a yellow jacket issue or a wasp issue until this first year of beekeeping. And I was like, where did all of this come from all of a sudden? And I had like 4 hives in my AC unit. I had to like take that all apart and get them out of there. And it's just, my wasps are crazy right now. Yellow jackets are
So
still filling. Were they?
Very bad.
So I didn't even know that that was an issue with bees.
So there's the homemade versions that everybody's been talking about. There's the store-bought version. If you're running out of time, I would start with the store-bought just to begin with, and then you can experiment with the other items to see what works best for you. And me personally, in my backyard, I'll put 2 traps out, one on either side of the yard, because if you just put one in the middle or something like that, who knows? It's not enough.
One's good, two's better.
That's my thought.
That's my thought.
If one's good, two's better.
In theory, they shouldn't put them too close to your hives, because then they'll just attract
Yes,
yellow jackets
I
to your hive.
I do not put it.
Mine are probably 50 feet away. Okay. I have a really big yard, but I would put them as far away, kind of on the corners of your yard.
They're saying don't put the wasp traps close to your hives. Put them far away.
Okay.
Don't beat them because the bait doesn't last forever.
That's true. The bait will evaporate. So you'll need to get rechargers.
Yellow jackets go on the ground, and if you can find their hive at night, take that great stuff, spray foam, spray it in there, and it's.
Ooh. So if you find the yellow jackets burrow in the ground, spray into their burrow and entomb them. That was the suggestion. Okay. All righty. So.
Wood boric acid is cheaper than camphor.
Well, no, I do both, because the wasps do the.
Put the boric in and then you spray it.
No, the acid I use for the wasps, the yellow jackets, follow them to their lair, because they ate my apple tree and hurt from the chickens. And so that's when I started with the big problem. They almost killed all my chickens.
Don't tread on my chickens.
You've seen the compilation.
Okay. Well, I think that covers March. All right, crud cutter confessions. We have a tradition here. We have a lot of traditions here. Crud cutter confessions. So this is where you get to share with everybody something that went horribly wrong that everybody else could learn from. Well, that's part of it. And for those who, where did it go?
It's in here.
There they are. And the winner gets a free bottle of crud cutter.
Explain why we like the crud cutter so much.
So crud cutter is, well, it cuts the crud. This is really great at getting rid of propolis. You spray it on your tools, your hive tools, you spray it on areas where there's propolis, where you don't want propolis, and let it just sit there for a little bit, and it'll make it a lot easier to wipe off. So otherwise, propolis is hard, nasty, and sticky, and gets into everything. So this is a really great way to clean off your equipment.
And you can use it on your bee suit.
That is true, and it doesn't hurt the bees. It's
You
a
can use
very
it on your
natural
bee suit.
substance. And if you go out on YouTube and do a search for crud cutter confessions, you might actually see a YouTube of Ann telling about it. So a while back, crud cutter came in here, or Rust-Oleum came in here and interviewed us all about this, because they did not realize that they had a product that was so helpful in the bee industry.
And sanitizer works real good for breaking that propolis down as well.
Not surprising, alcohol-based. Yeah. Okay. So, do we have crud cutter story number 1? Who wants to go first? We have so many volunteers. Oh, you got one?
Okay, this is it is embarrassing that I'm even admitting to this on camera. Ugh, okay, first year, that's all I have to say. First year, first time beekeeping. I got my bees in April during that really crazy snowstorm, and I was told that they had to be installed that day or they were gonna die because they came from California or whatever. And I was like, okay, I'll get it done. And I installed, but because it was snowing, what I did is brought my bee packages inside the house.
Just give her the
I'm just gonna say my mom let me do it. I'll blame it on her. I'm 40 years old and I'm still blaming her. So I did bring them into the bathroom. I opened it up, whatever. Only a few escaped. But then I'm in the house and I have to get out the house and it's snowing and it's crazy and got to get them installed. And here we go, 3 pounds of bees. Let's do it. Open the doors. She closes them all behind me. And at this point, I realize I'm not in my suit. I don't have anything on. And I was like, let's go. And I did it. And the first hive, it went so smooth and they all went in and whatever, they did it. Second, got it out of the bathroom and about 3 bees escaped and got me on my face. So that's my first year installation story.
We have. Okay, do we have a second story? There's got to be another. Oh, but we have to learn from somebody.
Yeah, I have to learn from somebody here.
You will every month. You will.
Well, I can tell one, but I'm going to abstain, abstain from competition, but I'll tell another one just so you can learn. Thank you.
Learn from my mistake. So I'm like all beekeepers, very cheap. I don't replace equipment unless it's falling apart. So the problem hive that we were talking about earlier, one of its earlier problems a couple years ago is that the bottom board was starting to fall apart. And so I noticed one day that in fact the whole thing was kind of listing like this because it was falling apart. So I got in, tried to get all of them, get that box off, and they were just mean. I could not deal with them. I'm sensing a theme. Maybe this hive needs to be restructured somehow. Anyway, so I said, okay, I'm going to close them up and get help because I need to obviously do this quickly. So I called my neighbor, very nice guy. He came over. He's a beekeeper too. He says, okay, we'll do this together. We get it up. They whoosh out at me, and they somehow got into my veil and started stinging me all over. I probably a dozen on my hair and I panicked. I rarely panic, but I panicked. And he says, get yourself in the house. I'll put it back together. So my lovely neighbor put it all back together. And I went in and I swear, my husband's like, do I need to get the EpiPen? I mean, that's how swollen I was. And so the whole afternoon I laid on the couch watching TV and I had ice packs all and I would feel something and go, oh, there's another stinger and throw it away. I was just miserable. But anyway, it's like, how did this happen? How did they get into my veil? Well, I finally got it out and looked at it, and it's a fencing veil, so it has like a seam like that. Well, it was right where the screen hits the actual white part. It had just separated, and they found that hole and used it. So check your suit, check all those little seams around there. So.
I bought this new bee suit as a guardian bee suit. Oh, they're built as being so great. They have a zipper. You can drink water, all kinds of cool stuff. And it's a nice suit. But you gotta remember to zip that down. Or you'll have the same thing.
He's saying, don't forget to zip your zippers.
Beekeeper error. I got a rookie mistake.
All righty.
So this is my second year in beekeeping, but I went out last year on I was supposed to get some free hives. Somebody came and took the hives and left some nuke boxes there. But then they called and said there's a big cluster of bees. So I'm like, sweet, a swarm, you know, they're nice. I'll just go. I didn't even take my suit with me. So I go out there and I hived them up. I took them. They were fine. I had a vacuum. I vacuumed them, and then I went to get these little nuke boxes. And I lift up the lid for them, and immediately hundreds of yellow jackets were all over me. I was in shorts. I got stung everywhere. I still have scars from these things, like indentions in my legs. And so I ran to the truck and I got my smoker and I took I blocked off the box and I picked up the box and I took it and set it down over here so the yellow jackets would kind of go back to where the box was. And I got the rest there's like 5 boxes. I took them, put them all in my truck, and I went home. I filled up a 35-gallon bucket with soapy water and I dumped the hive in there. That's
Wow.
But I got some bees with no queen. So they've taken the hive and it was just the residual bees that came back.
Okay, well, we have 3 contestants with
No, take me out.
2 contestants.
I told that story before.
All right. So by applause, package in the house. And wasps in the nuke. I think we have a winner. Congratulations.
So are you gonna tell us what you're supposed to do when your bees show up on a snowy day? Or like, how do we learn from this? Wait, like, take a breath.
They do not, they will survive. They've got.
Some sugar water.
Yeah, sugar water, put them in your garage, and they will generate heat, like you can put your hand on them, they're hot. So unless it's like 20 below, they're fine in your garage. And just leave them until the next day, and you can, it doesn't have to be like 60 degrees out to do it, but as long as it's sunny and.
They're talking about what to do if you had those bees and on a snowy day. Just put them in your garage.
But, yeah, you can leave them, it's fine.
Leave them in the package when they came in.
Okay, so we have the Golden Bee Award. So the Golden Bee, for those of you who don't know, Golden Bee goes to members of the club who have contributed in significant ways to furthering the furthering our mission. Poppin' fresh dough. Glad you all approve. So this month, the Golden Bee, goes to Mark Pomeroy. For leading the January or the February meeting in my absence and helping everybody. So thank you very much. Okay, next up is we have our raffle. Oh, we have the tickets. This is the benefit of sticking around to the very end of the meeting.
Do y'all want to see the raffle or are you good?
So, let's show what we have first.
Okay.
We have some mulling spices. We have 2 flu test kits.
Those are extremely rare. Those are hard to come by.
I noticed.
Thank y'all. I'm gonna hang up now,
but I assume
and we
they're
will
like
see y'all next week.
most other tests, and they're still good. Is plaque.